Hey, welcome to my little booth here. I'm Jay, and I record a lot of audiobooks, as many of you know, and this year, 2025, has been a fantastic year for audiobooks in this little booth here. I've read so many awesome books, and I wanted to share some of them with you, pull back the curtain a bit, talk about some of the process behind the scenes, how I prepared for recording them, things that went through my mind, how we actually recorded them, all of it, talking about it. If you'd like to see more of these, let me know. But the first book we're going to cover, if you're the kind of person who likes to read the book before you see the movie, I got good news for you, and I got you covered because we're talking about Caught Stealing by Charlie Huston. And as you can see here, it's soon to be a major motion picture, I think, coming out today. But this book I absolutely loved. One of the phenomena of being an audiobook narrator that I have grown to really, really love is some of the books that you get cast doing don't really sync up with your personal aesthetic as a reader. In other words, if I were to be given all of the books that I am to narrate, some of them I wouldn't pull off the shelf in a bookstore necessarily. But now, having narrated them, oh baby, am I on board with so many new books. I love getting pulled out of my shell like that, and it's so rewarding. But this book fits with my aesthetic really, really well in a lot of respects. It hits all the stuff. It's got heart, it's funny, it is written beautifully in a really great style. And Charlie Huston's not only a really great person, but he's a fantastic writer. So one of the things I want to do is walk you through the whole process going up to recording and then the things that were going through my mind during the recording process. I don't want to do a ton of showcasey type stuff for this book because it's so plot driven that I don't want to spoil anything. So that's just where I came to. But to talk about the process, when I got cast to do this book as well as the two sequels to it, this doesn't always happen, but we were able to do a meeting with Charlie Huston, the author, myself, the director of the book, and Charlie to just talk about things, talk about the book, get any questions answered that I might have, talk if there's any things that Charlie had preferences for in the performance of the book. And that doesn't always happen, and I don't know if it was something having to do with the movie coming out, if it was requested or what, but it was really, really helpful for me for a couple of reasons. One, this book has such a broad cast of characters. It's a full menagerie, and the way that it's rendered is gorgeous because the main character, Henry Thompson, it's written in first-person perspective, which I find I really enjoy doing because it allows for beautiful introspective moments where you can kind of just sit in thinking about the things that are happening and how you're going to move forward, reflect on things in your past in a really lived-in way that vibes with me as an actor. So I love that. But beyond that, all of the things that you learn about the menagerie of characters, the full cast that come in and out of Henry's life as this book unfolds, is each one, and I mean each one, down to like random bar denizens who you see for maybe 2 lines, has a beautifully rendered and rich history to them that you learn about both through Henry's relationship to them. He'll have a small reflective moment talking about, and then there's this guy, and here's how this is why he calls me this nickname or something like that. And you get this whole download of their entire relationship. It's through those moments of Henry's reflecting, but also purely through dialogue, which is what makes me really excited to see this translated to film. Because if they've kept any of Charlie's intuition for that, and I mean any of it, it's going to be really cool to see because it's written so cinematically. And furthermore, the dialogue is written in a way that it lends itself to audio really well. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But in terms of the meeting with Charlie, the director and I, we asked the standard questions, making sure that everything was lined up, pronunciations, if certain things like, should this bar be pronounced this way? All of that we took care of. But I was also curious if Charlie had ideas about characters and if he wanted certain ones played a certain way with certain intuition. And I think it's both a sign of Charlie's confidence in his own writing, because the characters, as I said, are so well rendered that it's hard to mess him up. But also, I think his generosity in trusting me to just do my job to the best of my ability, that he didn't really put any guardrails on me. I was basically given free rein, which was really, really exciting, particularly with this large cast, that I got to really stretch my wings and move a bunch. And beyond that, he did have a couple characters where it was just like, there are tropes that are like pitfalls that people can fall into in thinking about characters like these characters. Let's just avoid that. And I was there with him for sure from the outset, but it was helpful to have that reinforced just so that it was top of mind and we could move very consciously in a direction away from that. And then beyond that, it was really, really interesting in that conversation to ask about some of the ambiguous moments in the book, because this book has moments where it's unclear, intentionally so, as to where characters are going to go, how they feel about certain things, and how just what's going through their mind and heart in certain moments. And it was great because I got to ask the person who created these characters what was next or what was going through those characters. And the thing that was cool in this instance was he shared early drafts or ideas for directions in which he thought about taking it and chose not to, which was really, really informative by the omission of that. Because if you know they didn't choose this direction, but they thought about it, both the characters and the author, it informs why they chose this direction. And so that was a really cool thing to hear because it clarified a lot of deeper things that you may not even hear in the recording or performance. But in terms of just the understanding of the depth of the characters, it was really, really helpful to get all of that. So all of that was great and really helped to prep for the recording. Now, in terms of breaking down the script, like I was saying earlier, the dialogue is rendered in a way that's really, really unique and aesthetic for both the page and translates well to audio. So I'm scrolling down again because I don't want to have spoilers here, but if we check out just this little passage of dialogue. So here's a standard narration thing. All of this is first-person perspective from Henry's point of view, and the way that Charlie plays with time as well. Sometimes passages will skip into the past, then to the future. But down here at the bottom of the page, you see this dash and then a line, and that's characters' dialogue. So there's no he says, she says, they said, etc. None of those qualifiers, which in audio really, really helps you to just rip through this and make it really, really clarified just by switching character voices, which is something I do as a narrator a lot. And so it becomes a scene and less of like a written retelling, which is awesome. And the reason I highlighted everything like this was to keep it clear for myself during performance so that there was no part of my brain that was guessing, wait, is this character or this character? I can't remember. So I could highlight characters here and assign them a color, basically. And then the main character still stayed as unhighlighted. So anytime that it was my line or Henry's line, as I'll call it, it was unhighlighted, meaning it's just my natural voice. And then anything highlighted is a new character entering the scene. And then this was particularly helpful, again, because the cast was so large. There are scenes where several characters will be in a scene together and talking across each other. Fortunately, this doesn't happen a ton, but there are a few key scenes which I love. You can listen to them, one of them on my website, if you want. I'm not going to play it here because it's spoilers, but also there's, it's not terms and conditions, all that stuff. But it helped me to register like, oh, okay, so if character A, then character B, then Henry, character A, B, Henry, it helped me to switch really quickly between everybody. So you can see here just in this quick passage, I've got tons of different characters popping in here. And just by highlighting them different colors, at the glance of an eye, I can tell which character's which and switch to which voice I need to. So the reason that prep was necessary for me is the flow of this book and the pacing of it was important both for myself and the director to maintain. And we got a blessing from Charlie as well to prioritize the dialogue in a certain way over word accuracy. Now, that isn't to say that we just threw word accuracy out the window, but if, for example, the dialogue got a little messy or jumbled, or I messed a word here and there, we fixed a lot of those by going back to do the full line if we needed to. But because the flow of scenes was so well written, we prioritized the flow of things in certain respects over really grinding down on accuracy. And the director really helped me to balance that. And then, of course, the proofing and the producers on the book helped in that respect as well. But again, that was a really unique thing to Charlie, that was the priority. The characters were the priority over making sure that all of the words were correct. Because the way he writes dialogue as well is so utterly human, which again is a testament to the characters. Anyway, I'm gushing, but I just loved it so, so much. And beyond all of that, the thing that I found so particularly rewarding about all three of these books, the Henry Thompson Trilogy, starting with Caught Stealing here, is they just cover a whole spectrum of emotional experience in a lot of different. These books were funny in a dark, funny way, but sometimes just objectively funny. They're sad. I cried both reading and performing each of these books at some point because the characters are so human. You get attached to them, and then bad things happen to them, and you don't want that to happen. And so I found myself crying with each book at certain points, which was, yeah. And then, of course, anyway, just check out the books if you are interested at all. And if you go see the movie and you listen to the book, let me know how you felt about him. I don't know what's going to look one way or the other, but I'm excited to see. So anyway, again, if you want to see more of these, let me know, and I'll unveil or talk about more books that we've recorded this year, because there are a lot of really good ones. Until the next one, everybody, be well, and I'll see you there. Toodles.